Speaking of, look, sometimes I should just frame these segments as we're about to heavily criticize somebody, but really, this is in their own best interest. Um, there's clearly a need for generational new blood in politics. Obviously, the big three, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, are providing that. Uh, on a grassroots level, Chokwe Lumumba, what he's doing as mayor. Uh, Unfortunately, for a variety of economic and cultural moment reasons, I think we could basically skip Gen X. Uh, I don't need the Cory Booker Gillibrand new blood. That's okay.
You don't want to hear the Hakeem Nicks Kamala Harris mixtape that's coming out about means testing?
That's really okay. I have to say, I don't want it because I just can't. Like, we got to save the substance. But Kamala Harris put out her like mood mix thing for one of those like
I think it was late night with Colbert.
Yeah, one of those things, right? And it was very like, okay, here's the thing. Kamala Harris sticks out for me because I actually found, like, of all of the candidates trying to do an Obama, first of all, none of them should be trying to do an Obama impression. Barack Obama is Barack Obama. You're not Barack Obama. Barack Obama is one of the most talented politicians in the history of the United States of America, okay? And Beto O'Rourke is a little bit charming. He ain't Barack Obama. Cory Booker certainly is not Barack Obama. And Kamala Harris is definitely not Barack Obama, but actually she's more plausible than others in terms of like, okay, this is a likable person. I get it. She's smart. She's likable. And I even believe that she actually does listen to some of that music, right? And that it wasn't just curated by staffers. But when she talked about Sun is Shining by Bob Marley, I was like, how many people who were having a sun shining experience in California did you put in jail? Or like separate from their kids when you were an extremely aggressive prosecutor, including of these horrific drug laws in this country that have ruined so many lives. So, that being said, Nancy Pelosi, of the people that were on tap now, okay, progressives need to be really shrewd with her. She's already played them on some of these moves, no doubt, and her position on PAYGO is atrocious. But of what was on tap, Nancy Pelosi was the undoubted pick for Speaker of the House. And she's showing a certain degree of savvy, if I could channel Ana Navarro for a second, in dealing with Trump. Her number two in the House, who has always, there's always been a certain tension between Nancy Pelosi and Steny Hoyer because Steny Hoyer wants the top job. He's never going to get it, or unless, something, terrible happens that we don't want to put out in a scenario. But he's not going to get that job. And I would like to invite him to retire very quickly. I'm sure he has a lovely family. I'm sure he has grandchildren. I'm sure he has hobbies. Seems like a nice enough Maryland guy, whatever. And it's definitely, what is it, King Lear, to like sit in the shade and talk of old times, something like that. Something in Shakespeare that I'm not remembering. But it's that time for Steny Hoyer. Check out this profound fail on 70% tax rates for the ultra wealthy that AOC is so effectively injecting into the mainstream.
Do you support raising the marginal tax rate on the wealthiest Americans to as high as 60 or 70%?
No, I don't. But having said that, we need to pay for what we buy. And I think that's a very important concept. And we need to get the deficit down. And we're going to have to pay for that. So while I think a 70% marginal rate, which, by the way, was in existence some decades ago, is not reasonable to attain, either politically or, frankly, I think from a policy standpoint. We need to make sure that we have a tax system that in fact provides the revenues necessary to pay for our priorities and our needs.
Okay, go away now. Go play golf. Thank you. Your services are no longer required. Goodbye. Steny Hoyer is on tape trying to bully a progressive candidate out of a Democratic primary who voted for the invasion of Iraq, who has cushy relationships with every type of corporate lobbyist in Washington imaginable, and has no significant legislative achievements, very few, if any, to his name, is out first playing to a politics of like 1991 with pablum deficit talk. Then you could tell how AOC has actually changed the context, because instead of just saying, oh, it's ridiculous, he is saying, like, well, we used to actually do this, and then providing no effective rebuttal as to why we shouldn't now, which, look, we shouldn't waste money on the deficit stuff. That wasn't on purpose. We shouldn't waste money on the deficit stuff. We have things we need. We need to transition the economy from fossil fuels. We need to create Medicare for all. We need to make college free. We need free public transportation. We need all of these basic, robust agendas immediately as part of a broader transition to a more durable and just world, obviously. But he didn't even have, he even could have said after the deficit problem, that's why we need to look seriously at tax rates. And you know what? It was only a couple decades ago that there were much higher rates and the economy did really well and blah, 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 blah. Dude, just retire. Just go away. Some lobbyists and staffers will miss you, but nobody else. To paraphrase Jeb Bush, I'd like to see a recession in Steny Hoyer's congressional offices. It's okay. Just leave. You were in Congress for decades, dude. You played your part.
Yeah, I don't like adding to the whole term limits conversation unless it's focusing more on the sort of unelected jobs in government.
Right.
Because I think it just helps conservatives. But there's a pretty strong case for it, especially, with regards to, yeah, I don't know. Definitely in the Senate, at least, we should term limit some of these people.
No doubt. I think we should term limit some people off of The View.
Or at least the Supreme Court. Let's start there.
I was going to make
Hoyer was very against the term limits of leadership for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he was. Like, I've been shoveling fucking contracts to pharma companies and looking out for my district in narrow parochial ways and doing boring, uninspired TV hits for decades. And I want to keep goddamn doing it.